Yeah, welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined by the tea drinking tomato. How you doing, mate?
What's up? How's it going?
Very white today in the clothing. White headphones,
Yeah.
white shirt. No, I did that came off not the way I meant it,
It's
but
the
you get what I'm trying
contrast,
to.
of course.
It's the contrast. You look like a karate kid, like you've just come out of taekwondo or something.
Dude,
Like,
that's what everyone says when I stream in this.
yeah.
Oh, you just came from the dojo?
It's
Like, yeah, dude, I just exercising my ship buying fingers.
Yeah. All right. So, first day of Invictus, we're obviously rolling off with Aegis and Greycat. And there's a lot of stuff that's come out today, not just the old ships that we're used to, but there's some really controversial stuff that we're gonna have to go over today as well, which is we've just kind of been sifting through. So let's get over the browser because this is probably going to be a little longer than I thought it was going to be, but we're gonna have to go through everything. So we'll go through the usual things first. So I'm just going to go through the ships first. So let's do this. Right. We'll start with Aegis. So Aegis Stalker. I think we compare these two together, don't you think, Space? The Stalker, the Titan, the Renegade, and the Warlock. We can chuck 4 of them together. So this is quite an old series now. I still say that this is probably the best all-round advanced starter in my book. I think you would probably agree with that, Space, or?
It depends on what you're looking for, but it's right up there, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean by best all-round. Like, it's not, like if you didn't know what the person was really into, that's the safe pick, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
If cost wasn't an issue, then I'd push him towards the Intrepid.
Oh, that's the other thing. See, so that's more cargo. See, you got 6 SCU with this, but you've only got what do you got on the Intrepid? You got 8 on the Intrepid. Yeah, I can see where I'm going. But see, if you're after cargo, I wouldn't go the Intrepid. I'd go the 315P. See, so the good thing about what's happening here, even between me and Space Tomato, is now we're getting variety of all these different ships as well. So yeah, but I think you would agree though the Avenger is still a very good choice.
Amazing choice, yeah.
For advanced starter. So yeah, probably wouldn't recommend the Warlock unless you're really into piracy. This is just a skin. So yeah. All right, the Eclipse. We're gonna have to go through them with a bit of speed today either, because there is a lot on Aegis Day, and we've got a lot to talk about on the other side of it as well. So yeah. The Eclipse. What are your thoughts on this one?
It is a bomber.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think it'll become more and more valuable as more capital ships come in, but
True.
the torpedo gameplay in this game is still not reliable enough to even, I would say, fathom spending money on this.
Yep.
It's worth, you can earn it in game, so I would just say do that.
Yeah, earn it in game, or if you're really even interested, probably pick up a CCU and see how it eventuates, because I totally agree. Torpedoes are just not in the best place right now, and same thing with the Polaris, and they're even trying to sell a T variant of the Idris today, which I just don't think is going to sell very well because torpedoes are just not in the best place. So yeah. Gladius, the kind of hero-y type of ship from Squadron 42, light fighter. It's kind of a really good all-rounder. At $90 though, I do find it a bit of a hard pill to swallow personally. What's your thoughts on that one? And there is a skin pack one for this as well, but I'd probably just recommend the base if you were going to get it. What's your thoughts on the
$90? $90 is a lot for a ship that doesn't have an interior.
I agree. And there are other ships at the same price, like the Herald, and $20 more gets you a Cutlass and things like that. So, and even the starter.
Isn't that around Nomad price?
Yes, that is the exact same price as the Nomad.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So yeah, there's some better options up there. Fighters are just the more and more we learn about the game, fighters are just not looking like a very good value add. You kind of want one if you're going to have this like little mini fleet, but they're not a necessity. Like, and that's the whole thing about like earn back down to another ship. Like, get one ship that you want and use it to earn other ships in game. Essentially, I think.
That's one of the long-term problems Star Citizen has developed for itself. Is they've depended on combat for such a long time to be the driving force of content that now everybody's got combat ships and people value combat ships more than they're probably worth. So, as more industrial gameplay and other types of gameplay come online, what kind of shift in ship demographics are we going to see because of that?
Well, that's the thing. I think people are going to move into the niches they enjoy a lot more. And I think the other thing is like we're realizing more and more that there is a lot of group play in this game. And I think people are realizing that they probably don't need as many ships as they thought they needed. Yeah. Right. Hammerhead, $725. I'm not the biggest fan of this ship from a psychological point because you've essentially got 6 turrets. And you're going to have your best pilot, your best engineer. And so the only seat that you can rotate through that's not a turret is your co-pilot seat. And from essentially it's an escorting type of security guard type of ship. So a lot of waiting around, not doing a lot. That said, it is a really good at treating fighters. I don't know. What's your thoughts? That's my quick synopsis. Space. What's yours?
I'm actually starting to see a path to a ship like this being a regular weekly thing for org specifically. These security missions are putting these space combat missions. If they can get the pacing of these right and the amount of ships that are spawning in different areas and just the sort of like different places you're dropping into, you could sit in one of these turrets and have like bursts of 3 to 5 minutes of combat and fun, and then like a couple minutes of travel where you're running around the ship getting another drink or just like relaxing, and then another 3 to 5 minutes. That's honestly pretty similar to what I used to do when I played Halo back in the day. It would be like a 5 to 8 minute death match and then a couple minutes in between in the lobby. So this, if they get the pacing of how these missions can work, then even outside of sandbox and org gameplay, I actually could see these kinds of ships being good for groups if you can get enough of the people there. But buying it.
I can see where you're going there. The other thing is we've got news coming in about different weapon sizes as well. So these guns won't even be able to hurt a capital ship. So that kind of just changes a lot of it for me. This really is a fighter screener. It can't even like say, I'd have to go look at the size of the ships again to get you exact size of ships, but they literally mention that size 5 guns can kind of just partially hurt a capital ship. So size 4s can't do anything. So that's just like, what? You know, so it really starts to, all those old things they told us many, many years ago are all still correct, but they're now just starting to come into the game.
Yeah, and it's going to be funny to see just how much, I mean, we've already seen it with different things, even engineering, cargo, like everything that comes in that used to be talked about and then wasn't really focused on that much and then comes back in, just tons and tons of pushback. So we'll see how that goes when it comes to armor and these guns having specific damages.
There are, I'm going to bundle the 3 Idrises here together. There is actually the Idrises here. So we'll go to the Idris page real quick. Me and Argid will do a proper thorough buyer's guide of this down the road, probably after Invictus, to be honest, because it requires a very big, thorough review. So they've got the Idris K kit that you can pick up. The Idris M doesn't have any at all that I can see, but they also have this new one, which is the T kit. So essentially you can add a laser and some turrets and some other odds and ends. You can also see here in the description what it adds. And then there's this variant here that also adds, instead of the main gun, you get a whole bunch of torpedoes. So these are good for people that essentially already have an Idris to modify it and change it. Personally, between those two, with what we just said before about torpedoes, I'd probably be going for the K. But again, this is a very huge ship. And I think you would agree with me, Space. This is a ship that is really designed for org play. Do not buy this if you don't have the friends to man it. And then again, probably try and pull your resources and do that. Don't really go out of your way to think you need this thing. I don't think it's a need. I think it is very much a want, at the very least.
I mean, every ship in this game is a want. Let's be honest.
Other than the starter ship, I'll give you that. Go ahead.
Well, I think it's also needs to be said that, like you said, this isn't a single person thing. Like you can't look at it. The price tag is ridiculous. Okay. It's ridiculous. If you look at,
let's talk about just that for 2 seconds. We were expecting this to come out at 1,800 when it was all said and done, but it looks like it went up $100 above that. And as you can see, they've already all sold out. The cash ones and the Warbone ones, they're all gone. So yeah, Space. Yeah, back to you. Sorry.
Well, when you look at this, it's not a single person purchase. This isn't something for a one person to buy for any reason. Nobody, like, I know we expect NPC crews and there will be AI blades, and like maybe that makes the ship work out there. But I think for the majority of people, at least for the foreseeable future, there's no reason to buy this as a single player. I don't want to tell people how to spend their money. It's just like you could get other ships that are still really big, but are more suited to be handled by a single person. The Starlancer TAC, I think, would make for a great large ship that you could still use as a single person. But to have like a hangar of this size where you can't even fly your ship out of the hangar and then close the hangar behind you for security. Like, you're still going to want somebody back on the ship to make sure that the ship is secure after you leave. So I just don't see why you would get this as a solo player anyways.
Yeah, it very much goes into the domain of group play and like the minimum of the, I don't know if they're going to update the final stats, but the old stats were 8 people. So you need at least 8 people to kind of functionally run this thing properly at minimum. So, you know, that's firing the guns, like, and the engineering and all that once that all comes online too. So yeah, but
I do want to say, because there's a lot of fuss about the Asgard, and how it doesn't look that different from the Valkyrie, and it seems like they're just like making it to get more money.
Yep.
Look at the T kit. That's what you should be unhappy about. That's the actual, hey, we're just going to do something simple and put it out to make. I mean, what's to stop them from putting out a C kit for cargo hauling or an M kit for a medical Idris? Like, at least the Asgard is a different chassis.
Don't worry, we've got those to get to today because they released a whole bunch more shit like that as well. And I'm not that's not the thing I'm most upset about today. But we'll go through it all. So we're getting there. Don't worry. It's
gonna be fun video.
I guarantee you we won't be the only content creators grilling them today because it's gonna upset a fair few people. So
only people grilling them.
I think their dogs, their pets, everyone in between will be upset. So we'll see. Right, the Javelin. I think this kind of falls into everything we kind of just talked about on the last one. It's just bigger and uglier again. This is just, it's kind of excessive, is it not? Biggest ship that you can personally own in the game, and it costs $3,000. And it's way more combat focused. It does not really have any support like the Idris does. It is just all guns, all channels. And it does have a small hangar. So again, it's not a need. It is an absolute want. And I think you'd want to be in a really big org for this one. I think you're talking like 100 people to even think about this because it's going to need other ships around it to even function properly.
To be quite honest, I am less surprised by people who bought this back when the game was all conceptual than I am about people who buy it now.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Because back then there was a lot you could think this was going to do and be in a game that they were setting up, but now it's a different game.
Yeah. Well, I think there's probably a bit more up in the air now than there was back then. Like back then it was vagueness. Now it's like we know some things, but then we like, are we going to have enough people to man these things properly? We just don't know. So yeah.
For $3,000, I'm like, this is no offense to people who have bought it, but it is an insane purchase for me personally, because my finances. But geez,
yeah. Agrid's got like 2 of them, I think, or 2 or 3 of them actually. He's got rocks in his heads.
I will say we have one from referrals. I just realized. I just
remembered.
So there's that.
Yeah. Right. The Nautilus. This will have some unique gameplay for the size of the mines. When we talked to Ben and John, they basically said that we could probably get bigger mine layers going down the road. The other thing that came out of the Beijing bar system was this thing isn't even being worked on. It needs basically a reconcept because it's just out of the current metrics. And when they mean metrics, they means like the gameplay and stuff like that. So this will be kicked, like this is a can that's been kicked way down the road. I think this is after 1.0 for sure. $725 again, you'd probably get a loaner, so you're not really buying what you need. For me, this would be a CCU if you want it, but again, with everything we've talked about today, you don't need a lot of these big ships unless you're in orgs. I think you would agree with that, Space?
Yeah, this is a very unnecessary ship for a lot of people, but I would say I actually don't think, I mean, obviously the reconcept of the ship, but outside of game mechanics, I can't imagine anything with this ship is like particularly hard. It seems like it would be more about the security and law systems and sort of like ownership systems would make this a little bit more difficult to do. But they're really just like dead torpedoes floating in the air, right? With some thrusters on them.
And there's some sentry turrets as well. So it drops mines and sentry turrets, but they're equivalent to size for torpedoes, which is a little bit lackluster because a really easy way to judge a combat ship is can it destroy itself. This can't destroy itself. because the size 5 torpedoes are designed for fighters. So yeah. But again, it
Well, it's
is
not air, by the way. I said air.
yeah, but it's
Like a vessel.
it's unique. I picked up an upgrade for it, and I'm just going to set it and wait and see how it develops. So yeah. Right, the Redeemer, probably fallen a little bit out of favor of late, but those that are in the military, a lot of the military people really like it. It is gone back to its original role of a combat insertion ship. It's not really designed for fighting. It's designed to insert some people and then get the hell out of Dodge. That's kind of what it's really for. $330 is quite steep for a combat ship, but if you factor in the price of some of the heavy fighters that don't have interiors, and they're getting up to $250, not justifying it, but I'd still take this over a single seat fighter. We'll put it this way, I'll put it to you: if you had to pick between two Space Tomato, knowing that the way you think about ships, if you had to pick between an F8 at $300 and this at $330, and there were the only two options you had, which one would you take?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't even have to answer that.
Yeah.
The fact that this has beds on it, this is a long distance ship. Like, you can actually go out and spend time playing the game with your friends in this.
Yeah, and it does have a modular component at the bottom as well that they haven't really elaborated on for a long time, but the last thing they said is it'll probably be like the original concept variant, which is a short range dropship. So it'll have the short range insertion capabilities and the long range escort function. They're the two modules they've ever talked about, but that may change. They're the only ones that we know of, though. But yeah, $330 on that one. So yeah. Right. The Retaliator. Going back to the Eclipse, I'd be taking this over the Eclipse personally. I think you get a lot more for this. You essentially get twice as many torpedoes than you do on the Eclipse. Yes, it is a bigger ship, but you can also do a little bit more this with. You can earn the modules in game, and you essentially can do smuggling or cargo runs. Smuggling, because are you going to really want to come up and pick up a fight with a ship that just has torpedoes on it? Or do you get close enough to find out and worry that they're going to shoot torpedoes at you? Do you take the risk to find out that it's just a cargo ship? So it's like a deception smuggler. But at $175 and then earning the components, that might be the way to go. But you would have to buy at least one module to start earning money with it. So yeah. But I think this is at least a lot more palatable than the $300 for the Eclipse. I don't know if you agree with that, Space.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And the fact that, like, once again, you have an interior.
Yep.
Like, you can actually go in this ship and go places and do things with your friends. The Eclipse is you fly it out of a carrier ship or from home base, you do something and you fly back.
Yep. Right. We've got the Saber. I think we're gonna have the other Sabers here as well. So we can probably
all of them.
Oh, we've only got the Firebird. We don't it's the other one's the racing one, that's why, right. So this is just a skin of the Saber, so we can kind of I don't recommend any of these. You're paying $15 for a couple of weapons and a skin. It's generally cheaper to buy another skin that's available in the store because they're like $5 instead of $15. Even then, you don't need a skin. Saber has not really had many significant upgrades over the years. I do think this will come around again once more flight mechanics, armor, and things like that have been put in place. But I'm trying to think of the last time I actually saw a Saber in game. It's been quite a while since I've seen one on the regular. You do see them, but like generally the ones you see at the moment are like Firebirds. And for $10, this is in a much better place right now. But yeah, again, I'm not
the original one still looks the best to me.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of fighters. I just for their price, I'm just not a fan. They are too expensive for what they do. And I think they're very much an earning game for me, all fighters in that regard, because for the same price that you're paying this money, you can get an industry ship that's a better money earner, and then just side grade into it or get something above and earn down. So yeah, that's me. What's your thoughts on those two, Space, the Saber and the Firebird? Yeah,
I agree. I mean, the Firebird's the price of a Prospector, right?
No, Prospector's $155, so it's $30 more than Prospector.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, in that case, like, it's really about what you want to do in the game. But even then, the combat ships, I would say you can, well, now the Golem's in the game, so that changes things, but you can get like a much less expensive combat ship and easily get more through combat missions to earn something better than it is to like start from a starter ship and do salvage or mining to earn up to a bigger salvage ship. But now they've added those starter ships for mining. So that kind of changes. And once the new salvage starter comes in, that also changes. So it's really up to you, but I don't think it's worth buying any of these ships this expensive.
Well, they also mentioned
for most people.
more underground mining ships. So at the moment, all the mining we've got is on the surface. They actually mentioned at Beijing that underground mining is still a thing. So look forward to a whole nother set of industry ships coming down the line as well. But yeah, $60 for a golem is a really good point. Like, that's a functional gameplay. Why weren't they more expensive? If for some reason you just pay this military tax, it's kind of strange. Right, we can put these four together. I believe there's four. Yep. These are the Vanguards, Harbinger, Hoplite, Sentinel, and Warden. Warden's kind of the base model. The Sentinel is the Warfare. The Hoplite's kind of a really shitty dropship that they made, and then they kind of abandoned and went on to the Valkyrie, if you know the history of Star Citizen. So this one's not the best. It's also usually the cheapest. And the Harbinger essentially fires 3 torpedoes, which is kind of done better in the Eclipse for $10 more, and you're on your own. You don't have a second person. And the Gladiator, that's much cheaper, has exactly the same torpedoes, but it's like $185, not $290. So
yeah, and 185 years old.
Yeah. These ships really fell out of favor because of the customized nose guns. The only one that I kind of have any hope left for is this, and it's because it's E-Warfare. There is currently really no other pure E-Warfare ships in the game. We have things like EMP and quantum dampening, but this one has like special hacking things and stuff like that. But I have no doubt when they get back to doing E-Warfare, there will be other E-Warfare ships that will really kill this thing off. And it's really the nose guns that screw it. There's just too many guns on the pilot and not enough guns on the person that could actually use them a lot better. Quite honestly, I think this really big gun needs to be put on the turret, and I think they really need to move these guns off the nose so we can use some other guns, not just these bespoke ones that really hamper what it can do. Space,
it's a goofy look.
Yeah, I know what he's going for. This has got Chris Roberts written all over it, right? He's got I think it's called the Mosquito or something like that from World War II. He just really wanted those nose guns, and there's no other ship that have got them. And I just really think if you put them along under the engines or around the outside of the nose or something like that, they could have even had something that opened and the guns were inside it or something like that. They could have made a compromise, but they didn't. And now you've got to go buy these special guns that you can't use on other ships.
It's very indicative of Star Citizen as a project overall. I think this is a video I want to work on, just how much of the early years were we want this and how many of these later years are crap. Why do we want that?
It's ironically
like John literally said it about the Caterpillar.
Yeah, it's ironic you mentioned that. The next ship that we've got to do a review series on, me and Argrid, is this. We've got others in the bank already, like freelancers and stuff like that, but this is the next one me and Argrid are personally going to work on. It is the Vanguard series. Right. The Vulcan. I think this thing's going to come around again with a lot of the messages about the ballistic reloading and stuff like that. I think we can now start to see the value of this ship. Also, repairing tanks that have been disabled and stuff like that. So I think once repair gameplay comes in, this ship is going to have a real nice sweet spot.
The Vulcan Renaissance, we'll call it. It'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
The sky will open and angels will pour out holding copies of Squadron 42.
Whoa. Settle down. You're in your angel wear and it's getting to your head.
Yeah, bro, I like this. I like this ship. I am a big fan of this ship. It's like the workhorse of the whole game, in my opinion. This is going to be the one that everybody's like, oh, yeah, I'm the fuel rats of Star Citizen. This is what they're going to fly. And it's a really nice size. It's like 40 to 50 meters.
Yeah.
It's made for like 2 to 3 people. It is industrial to the core. It looks super civilian industrial in its design. It's just all around. It looks like it's going to be a really fun ship for industrial people. And honestly, I can see this getting a big price increase when it comes out.
I'm going to be honest with you. Now we've seen what's happened to the Golem and stuff like that. I'd be really surprised if we don't get a smaller variant of this somehow. You know, like one that's just designed for reloading. Like it's like one drone and one guy or something like that. Yeah, something like that. So I'd be really surprised. But again, as you said, this is in a really good sweet spot. Yep, I don't mind it.
This is definitely like one of the most drone focused ships. So I'd keep an eye on that once we start hearing about drones.
Yep. All right, that's the first lap. Now we've got to do just the last one, which is the Greycat. Now, obviously, we haven't had a chance to get in game and do this because we've gone straight from the sale going live. It hasn't even been an hour. But I am very keen to get in and try this one out, and I predicted it perfectly. I thought it was going to be $50, and that's exactly what it is. I am kind of excited to check this one out because if it is basically a mini Ursa, but you also get the suit lockers, I think this is going to make it one of the most perfect vehicles for doing bunker runs, especially so you can land out of the turret zone and then drive in. And I used to do a lot of that with John Citizen, and I just got a feeling that this, put it this way, it also carries, I think it's 1.5 SCU in the back, but I'll check those stats and get under that. And get back to you. Yeah, 0.5 maybe. But we'll get look. We will be doing a proper review on this later today, so look forward to that in a few hours. So I'm waiting for Ara to get up in about 3 hours, and me and him are going to go through this in a fine tooth comb. So that's what I usually do with the new ones. Is I do this quick overview, and then we go back and do ones on that. Right now we've got to go back and look at the other shit where the shit has hit the fan. So we already talked about this going up to 1900, so I don't need to go through that. So this is
just
where
want to say I do really like the MTC, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I did forget to ask your opinion.
It's a solid vehicle.
Yeah. So what it looks like they're doing is a lot of upselling here. So essentially you've got both war bond and non-war bond of all these items. And essentially I'll just give you a couple of examples, right? So let's take the Gladius one, for example. So these are the same in both packs. It's just war bond or non-war bond. So essentially you're getting a couple of AI blades, which are just better flight characteristics than over the default. You're getting a night break paint, an Invictus hat, and a blue shirt, right? So essentially what you're really paying for is the paint, right? And the reason you're paying for this is they've already...
I want the t-shirt, dude.
They've already well, no one really wants the t-shirt or the hat. Let's be honest. If you're buying for that, you've got something wrong with you. They're trying to add value that you don't really want, but realistically, once the skin is kind of gone or whatever, they've already stated that the blades are going to be available in game, and the last part that really pisses me off that we'll show you in a minute, they're all going to be available in game after the promotional period ends. So why would you buy them now? Why not just wait 6 weeks and they'll be available? The only reason you would possibly want to buy these is the skin. So essentially what you're paying for is a more expensive skin.
Not like the skin's not going to be available somehow at some point.
Eventually they'll be available in game, yeah.
I answer your question with a question. Why would they sell these instead of just putting them into the game? And literally both those questions answer each other. Well, people will buy them because they sell them. They sell them because people are going to buy them. And it's like, but these are literal just tweakings of the numbers of existing ships.
Why aren't they missions in game to have things that you can earn? Why are they to encourage people to play? Rather than sell them, use these to encourage people to play. I think that's a much better idea. There are some really other interesting ones in here, though. So once you get past the skins, there's also this Scorpion weapons kit and a Tumbril Nova weapons kit. So this essentially adds the missile turret to the Scorpius instead of the default turret. And the one for the Nova obviously adds that ballistic Gatling gun. So yeah. Now, the one that I really want to get onto, though, is these bomb racks. These are what really shit me and piss me off, right? So you've got a couple of different sizes, 2, 4, and 6, right? So it depends on how many missile racks your ship has or how many ships you want to equip, but essentially allows you to take the missiles off and put droppable bombs on. That is essentially selling a gameplay feature in my book. You are paywalling the ability to drop bombs. So if I have bombs and you're on the ground, I now have a feature that you don't have because I brought it for 6 weeks. That is an incredibly slippery slope. I do not like that.
Slippery slope, man. They did this with modules, no? We're in the slope. We're sliding.
It's a little different because you have to earn the ship, so it really lowers it down to people that own that ship, right? And that's
like retaliator modules.
Yeah, it's more like customization for a ship there, though. But these things, they work on every single ship that has a missile rack, and you can actually read that. Like if you,
I see.
Right,
so it turns the ship into a bomber. But you can't do that unless you pay.
Exactly. Right, so it literally says this kit includes 2 size 3 CST-13 Castillo bomb racks for a variety of ships and a commemorative Invictus in-game hat and compatible Aegis compatible with the Aegis Avenger, Aegis Gladius, Anvil Arrow, Anvil Hornet, Mark 1 and Mark 2, Banu Defender, Crusader Mercury, Drake Buccaneer, Asperia Talon, Miss Lancer, Miss Reliant, and Miss Mantis. So that's a lot of ships to go on, right? And
dude, how is this going to work with balance if they're starting to just allow ships to equip different types of weapons than what their purpose were.
It's like selling gameplay. It's really strange, and I know they won't see it that way, but it is, because for 6 weeks, whoever has these can drop bombs and other people can't. Now, it might be not the most fleshed out gameplay right now, but it's a slippery slope. What happens if you bring out the underground mining gameplay, and you can only have that if you have a certain a drill head? You know what I mean? Like it's paywalling.
It's what people were. It's kind of like what happened with the Atlas.
Yeah.
Except the Atlas was still a tractor beam. I mean, these are still bombs, and you can bomb in other ways. But yeah, I think this is the continuation of what people were worried about from the Atlas release.
Yep. So the other thing is, right, you can't. This is the way I would get around it if you really want them now. Is I would buy them with credit, right? So you can buy them with credit. But remember, once the period ends, what they've done in the past is they make the melt value on these worth 0. So if you were going to use them, you would want to melt them before they get removed off the store. Because as they've said in the I didn't get that link from you, Space. Actually,
it's in the side chat.
In the side chat, I'll grab it real quick. Sorry, doing it on the fly.
The channel we were in.
Channel that we were in, which was that one.
General.
I can't get to that right now.
All right, let me post it. Let me send it to you. I'll DM it to you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Awkward silence. All right, there we go. Thank you. Right, so this one here, they actually mentioned in the post that it'll be after the period they're removed off the store. And so basically that generally is 4 to 6 weeks. So like what just happened with the Golem recently is an example, and that they'll be going to the store.
Down towards the bottom.
Down towards the bottom. What was it called?
Not towards the bottom. There it is, in the middle.
What's the question?
Will flight blades be available to purchase from in-game stores?
Yeah, flight blades.
One more. Yeah.
Yes, flight blades become available in-game for UEC this summer. So that's for them, but it doesn't say anything about the bomb racks.
They changed the answer.
Oh, really?
They changed the answer. Yeah, hold on.
Really?
Yeah. Let me show you. Let me send you a screenshot of what that said when I read it just before.
Please.
They definitely just changed that probably after people got unhappy about that answer.
Okay.
Because before.
Yeah, I'm opening it now. Just give it a second. So this is just opening on the browser so the people in the video can see. Can flight blades...
So it's in a different place now.
Yes, flight blades will become available in in-game store for UEC following the end of the pledge exclusive ability, similar to how we're inducing new vehicles. So they have changed that and extended the time, essentially. But that doesn't say anything about the missile racks. So I'm now really worried about the missile racks quite a lot. But yeah, this has happened between weapons before. They used to sell like handguns and they were $5. And then when they made them available in game, they made the melt value $0 so you couldn't get your money back. So I have no doubt they'll do the same thing again with these bomb racks eventually. But that is a very, very, very slippery slope, especially when they're considering selling them for $55 a pop. That is more than the price of a starting game package for missile racks. That's not armor. That's not a gun. That is missile racks. That is insane. And I am very disappointed with you, CIG. This is up there with the Cutlass
It's our
Steel.
Annual disappointment with CIG. It's our biannual CIG. Why are you making these choices?
Cutlass Steel. What are some of the other really bad choices? You know, just some of the really bad sour tasting stuff. And this, like, I know you're pushing the waters on the barriers. You're trying to figure out what works and stuff. But seriously, talk to your your content creators. They will tell you if this is a good idea or not. And I guarantee
they don't even need to talk to content creators. Just look at your community. Get a freaking grip, CIG. Seriously.
I think if you talk to people internally, that there would be people internally that said that this was a bad idea.
Yeah.
So yeah. Right.
It goes for so many of the decisions they make, man. So many freaking like they are so used to just doing things and then saying, the backers will stick around. Mark CIG, someday somebody's going to come and eat your lunch. Somebody's going to make something better that doesn't abuse its consumers as much, and you need to stop making choices like this. I'm getting sick of it, man.
It's definitely changed from back in the day where, I felt like I was a part of the development and stuff like, and obviously it's got a bigger and uglier company as things grow. That happens with every company, like Google, all that type of thing, or no matter who you're talking about there. But yeah, I think you got to remember that you've got people that are passionate about your game. They really want to help and see you succeed, but they also don't want to be taken advantage of. And this is another one of those. And we've said this
Yeah.
so many times over the years. Whenever one of these things has happened, I keep thinking of the Cutlass Steel, but I know there's a couple other ones, and I'm just forgetting them at the moment because I'm just a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's hard to bring them up,
Yeah,
but there's a list, man,
yeah,
and like people want to give CIG money. That's what I can't get over. People are
mm,
so excited to give CIG money when they're doing things good. Going into this Invictus week, people are excited to spend money, unlike during 4.0. And then you drop something like this that's just like just a little more off the top, please. And it's
yeah,
like, well,
yeah,
you guys, you're selling the Idris.
yeah.
You're gonna make so much money. Just
Yeah, yeah. And then you did all those skins that were also tied in with AI blades. It's not like, oh, here, have some AI blades, have some new gameplay feature. No, you paywalled both of them.
would have been freaking amazing if that had dropped into
That's
the game in 411 as
yeah,
some like new rewards or something you could loot and
yeah,
find in hard
yep,
places.
yep. Put them behind missions, make them stuff that people can earn, give people a reason to go back and actually play the game. No, 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 no. You went money route, and that is going to burn you. I guarantee you that is going to turn people off from wanting to play your game. It turns me off from wanting to play your game.
It
And I've
already
been here
does. Yeah.
covering it for over a decade. And I'm not the only one that's going to be like this, right? So I guarantee you, let me know in the comments below, because CIG will come and read the comments. They do. I know they do, right? So let them know in the comments below what you think of this space. Is there anything you'd like to hear from people in the comments below?
How excited are you guys for the Vulcan? Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm very frustrated with what they're doing,
yeah,
and it's like the dichotomy of I love the project and I love where
mm,
it's going,
yeah,
but I can see them actively undermining the progress of this. Like, yeah, it's going to make them money, which they need
mhm,
money right now, but at the same time, the balance, the bloat, the overall just like, what are you setting yourself up for in the future doing these kinds of things? And how are you psychologically training your freaking
mhm,
players to just only look at the games, the store on the website? I
yeah,
just can't believe these launched to the store first. Oh my
yeah,
god.
yeah. It's gonna be we're gonna be talking about this for a couple of weeks, and I don't
Yeah.
we won't be the only people talking about it. I'm pretty sure you'll
I
see
would like
entire shows on this subject. Mm,
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go probably record something today. I would like to hear from people just kind of like how far do you think they can take these flight blades before it feels like
mm.
it's too much? How much can you
Well,
do with flight blades to customize ships before you're starting to just be
s-
like, hey, you can make this ship have twice its acceleration for $50?
we should be saying no to this. We should be not purchasing these things at all, because as soon as you start buying them, what's next? The turret blades, they'll sell those, and then they'll sell those, and then they'll sell other subcomponents. They are looking for new money streams, and if you buy these, you're only encouraging it. And it is very hard for me to say that as someone that is a skin collector. I'm just going to have to say no to all of these.
Sound like a serial killer from the 70s,
No,
dude.
I have a thing, right?
Like
Like
skin collector.
in every game I play, I collect skins and stuff. It's just a thing that I do, right? And I
I
have
get
a
you. Yeah.
skin for every, like the best skin that I like in Star Citizen. I buy that for every ship, even if I don't own the ship. I just want the best skin that's currently available. That's just my thing. It's my little side hobby, right? And I guarantee you, um, look at my headphones, right? I have a thing for black and red. If you didn't notice, all those skins today were black and red. So
They know you.
me, they know me very well, right?
You're like,
And they
come to the
have,
store.
yeah, exactly. And I'm going to have to say no to all of them, because I have to stand my ground on this and literally speak with my wallet. And unfortunately, people are going to succumb to that. And I think unless we stand up as one voice and say L to the no, 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 they're going to keep doing it. And I think they need to get the message loud and clearly. And I think, oh, the other one I just thought of, land claims. This is another land claim. That's what it is.
I mean, the land claim was just terrible communication.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah,
just not
yeah.
great. But yeah, it's something. It's always something.
All right. All right. Well, we're gonna have to let you get back to the dodo, Jojo, or what is it called? The dodo.
The
Dojo.
dojo.
Dojo. Yeah, that's the one. Dojo.